actually going to go to Australia now, so off to my hometown. And it looks like I'm actually moving home. After reading this news, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will likely pass a new law that gives workers the right to ignore their bosses after hours. The right to disconnect was proposed as a parliamentary bill to allow workers to have a healthy work-life balance and be able to switch off work mode. The bill has been pushed by the Australian Green Party, who published this mildly cringeworthy video to get their point across.
Hi, boss.
Why aren't you answering your emails?
I'm clocked off. I was just filming a video on workers' rights to disconnect, actually.
What the hell is that?
It ensures workers aren't required to read or respond to emails, phone calls, or any other kind of unnecessary communication from their employers outside of work hours.
It also would mean employers could face fines if they fail to allow employees to actually embrace their newfound freedom. But not everyone is happy, with a number of media commentators pointing out that this law risks a major overreach of state powers.
I'm still scarred with some of the stuff that Labor does in the parliament historically. But you've been right to remind me they're back to all their old tricks. They're ramming stuff through. There's no proper debate on legislation. There's limited scrutiny. And Michaelia Cash was making the point that this likelihood now of small business owners being liable with prison sentences. Labor let this legislation, this amendment go through. They're trying to blame everyone else. Now they're trying to mop it up.
This is obviously a hotly contested subject in Australian politics. What did you guys think? Do you think this is more for snowflake Gen Z or something that people could embrace?
Well, I just think there's got to be some freedom for companies to operate as they see fit. I mean, where would the world be? Where would we be as a civilization if every time any new advancement was made, any new company basically said, right, we'd stop at 5 p.m. and there will be no communication ever again? That's not how things function. I think only a very comfortable company can afford to operate like that. And, the idea that there are different kinds of workplaces, I'm sure there are many workplaces that have a more flexibility and more kindly working hours than other places. But the point is, there's got to be the element of workers picking and choosing based on their own preferences and desires. This basically says one size fits all policy on all workforces, and
which obviously could never happen because there are a million different industries with a million different hours. What do you think, James? Is something that you can embrace as a former advisor? This would never happen to you.
So when I was the Chief of Staff to the Chancellor, he'd be the first person I spoke to in the morning and the last person when I went to bed at night, and that would be with my partner in bed next to me, right? So there's no getting away from this kind of stuff. I bet you the people that came up with this nonsense have never actually worked in the private sector before.
No.
This is only something that could work if you're in a government department or something like that, and you're a civil servant with a really cushy pension.
That is true. It is for the civil servants.
I mean, ditto with, for example, a newspaper. We go to print at certain times, but then if there's a massive news that blows up at 6 p.m. we then have to rethink the entire paper. We might have to do a whole new cover. People are bashing out stories that sort of right down to the wire at 8 p.m. and it's very stressful. It can be very exhilarating too. But, I just, as James said, this shows zero awareness of how jobs and the job market really operate.
Right, but also that's fun, right? What Manny just described there, not every day, but a big news story comes in, you're a journalist, you work in a newspaper, it's an exciting, it's a privilege to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that idiotic video there, that little rat bag, but he's obviously never worked on these kind of things before. Bosses don't talk like that, right? Capitalism is human and creative and wonderful. And normally, we've all had bad bosses, but bosses, especially in small businesses, care about their employees as much as they care about their own families, right? Because everybody wins together on these kinds of things.
Or put it in something more practical, in the sense that workers have more rights to, stand up for themselves if they do have a tyrant boss or they do have someone that's, abusive.